Hi everyone, this is the Behavioralist Learning Theories video project by Vanessa Adrian. To begin, we're going to talk about a brief history of the behavioralist learning theories, starting with B.F. Skinner. B.F. Skinner's main purpose was operant conditioning. This is the idea that learning in behavior is strengthened if followed by reinforcement. There are 4 types of operant conditioning that Skinner founded, the first one being positive reinforcement. This is when you praise or reward to shape the child's behavior, like you could give the child a cookie for sitting nicely at the table while they were doing share time at school. Next is negative reinforcement. This is the response of removing something the child likes or desires because of their behavior, like taking away a video game if the child acts up at school. The third is punishment. Punishment is a consequence that is follows up an operant response that will reduce the likelihood of that behavior occurring again. An example of this would be a parent spanking the child after they throw a fit or do something horribly wrong at school. Finally, extinction. It is a particular behavior that is weakened by the consequence of not experiencing a positive condition or stopping a negative condition. An example of this would be a child hears a bag of chips open, and so they are likely to run into the kitchen. After a parent continues to open other bags that sound like chips but are not, the child will eventually stop running into the kitchen. Next is Watson. Now, Watson was most known for his theory involving little Albert. Little Albert was a baby who was the topic, and Watson began with a mouse that was a non-stimulus. When the mouse was around little Albert had no response or effect from the mouse, but when the hammer hit something making a loud noise, which is the unconditioned response, this made little Albert cry. When the mouse and the hammer sound were combined, it conditioned little Albert to cry when the mouse was around, even without the hammer. This is an example of this in the classroom could be test anxiety. Next is Thorndike's law of effect theory. This theory states that any behavior is followed by an unpleasant consequence is likely to be repeated. A behavior followed by an unpleasant consequence is likely to be stopped. This theory was tested by trapping cats inside of a crate with only one outlet needing for the cat to pull down the string to open the door to get out and get the treat. After a few tries, the cat was able to do it quickly and more efficiently, and they would know what to expect. An example of this would be a parent making their child finish their homework before going outside to play or to get a treat. And finally, our last theory is Pavlov's. Pavlov's theory was using a dog food, and a bell. When the dog food was the unconditioned response was placed in front of the dog would begin to salivate, which is the unconditioned response. When the bell was rung in front of the dog, that was a neutral response because the dog was not salivated, did not understand anything about it. And this was the no condition response. When the food was placed in front of the dog while the bell was being rung, this created a conditioned response of the dog salivating. This was the conditioning process. After the conditioning process, the bell could be rung and the dog would automatically begin to salivate. This is the conditioned response. An example of this would be seeing an older student getting good grades and getting rewarded for it. This would cause the younger students to want to try harder for better grades, so they would get rewarded as well. A few of the current theories that we use every day are modeling, shaping, and responding theories, conditioning. Modeling is one way we show our students how to act, respond, and behave. This would be giving them a visual example as like the teacher doesn't want you to walk on the left side of the hallway, they want you to stay on the right. So the teacher would need to stay on the right side to give an example. Shaping is a way of teaching new behaviors through differential reinforcement. This would be like how to show a child how to talk and walk. And responding conditioning is when a child is conditioned to respond to what they hear, feel, or see. An example of this would be when the bell rings, all the students get up to leave. Hi everyone, this is the Behavioralist Learning Theories video project by Vanessa Adrian. To begin, we're going to talk about a brief history of the behavioralist learning theories,